Alright, we're here at the park, just chilling. Hopefully you saw my last video, and if you didn't, go ahead check it out. But this hopefully just gonna be a quick video. I'm gonna talk about sleep and how to fall asleep quicker, because that's a problem that I know a couple people in my life have, is they have difficulty and they have trouble falling asleep, and could be due to anxiety or overthinking. That's what happened with me, because last night I was just laying in bed. I was thinking of these video ideas that I had, and then I eventually tried to fall asleep. And then once you're just trying and thinking about falling asleep, that's not the best way to actually fall asleep, right? So in this video, I'm going to give you some tips on things that helped me personally, that I actually use to fall asleep faster. And the first one is going to be, this is one that I used a while ago, and I guess it hasn't been working as effectively for me now, but maybe it could help you, maybe this is the method that's best suited for you. And that method for me was, clearing my mind of thoughts, which this one's easier said than done, because it's very hard to just be okay, I'm not gonna think of anything while I'm trying to fall asleep. It's a lot easier for your mind to wander when you're, focused on nothing, of having empty thoughts. And that was I don't know where I heard this advice, but it was the advice from probably one of the law of attraction kind of things, where it was just view your thoughts as passing thoughts. So you're a third person perspective, put yourself in a third person perspective, and look at your thoughts and feel those thoughts, and acknowledge them, but then just allow them to keep moving past your area of focus while you're trying to sleep, and your consciousness and things that you're trying to focus on. So don't sit there and then focus on the thing. But if you catch yourself being oh, I'm thinking about tomorrow's workout or tomorrow's days of work, then acknowledge that, oh, I was thinking about that, and then just let it go. So this is definitely a harder one to implement, I think, but it did work for me for some time. So just clearing your mind of thoughts, and that was the phrase that I remember myself using, was passing thoughts. Think of them as passing thoughts rather than holding on and grasping to an idea that's floating around in your head. So that's one way. And the whole third person perspective thing, and just looking at the collection of your thoughts rather than having to individually go into each one and in depth, and lose brain power and lose sleep trying to figure out what your thoughts are. So that's the first way, and that has helped me in the past. But now the second way, I was talking to my boy Christian, and he was listening to this sleep podcast. I'll leave them credit down below. I'll talk to him to try to find out what podcast he listened to, where he heard this advice. But he relayed the advice to me when we were just catching up in the kitchen. So he told me that they recommended visualizing something that you do, an action that you do. And for me, when I heard this, I was oh, it's basically counting sheep. And essentially it is that advice, but maybe it's gonna expand on that idea of counting sheep a little bit more, rather than just saying, oh, count sheep, jumping over a fence. So the example the way that he described it was, visualize an action that you perform daily. So for me, what I visualize when I'm trying to fall asleep is, even though I don't play basketball that much, my way of visualizing to fall asleep rather than counting sheep is shooting free throws, right? And he said there was some scientific benefit of this visualization, and if you actually visualize these things, if you visualize taking a free throw and shooting a free throw and it going in, and then you count those, supposedly I don't have much knowledge in this, so take this with a grain of salt, but supposedly there is scientific proof that visualizing these things can make you perform better at them. So if I visualize shooting a free throw, and it should be something that's that's systematic and routine, I think, because if you're visualizing something that's kind of random, I don't even know what an idea of that would be, but I don't know. I think it's a really good way for people who are athletes or who enjoy sports. That's a good way of that's a good thing to visualize, is your sport. So for basketball, shooting a free throw, for like maybe for golf, like taking a swing, things like that. Maybe for soccer, kicking the soccer ball into the net, and then you count those like you're counting sheep. So for my example of shooting free throws, like I visualize doing my routine. I do one dribble, a ball spin, and then I shoot the free throw, and then I visualize it going in, and that's one. And then I reset and I do the whole thing. And I have to visualize that whole motion, or else I won't, like, if I'm like saying that I'm visualizing the free throws and I'm just counting in my head, that's different than me sitting there visualizing. Because like when you focus on going to sleep, it actually doesn't allow you to go to sleep, which is kind of counterintuitive. But when you take your mind off of trying to sleep, that is kind of when you are more able to do so, at least in my experience, and that's what I've heard from numerous other people as well. So again, it's kind of like an extension of visualizing counting sheep and visualizing the sheep jumping over the fence, and then you're like 1, 2, but instead do it with something in your routine that is, a functional movement. Maybe that's always a good one. I don't know about doing things like, say you're a runner, I don't know about like counting your steps or something like that. Maybe that could work, but I think if you could find an example that's similar to shooting a free throw or like swinging a golf club, try to take examples like that and use that to visualize. Maybe find something in your own life that is systematic, because I don't think you can visualize, like, here, we'll say cooking, for example. I don't think I can visualize cooking a meal, like cooking my eggs, and then that translates to me. Maybe it can, I don't know. Maybe it's just the act of visualizing something that's not trying to fall asleep. But for me personally, I think that the whole free throw shooting and then counting definitely also helps. And I don't even know if I've gotten past like 10. I don't know if I've counted past 10 before I've actually knocked out. And I was trying to do it this morning after I woke up, but it didn't really help because I was already kind of wide awake. But last night I was like my mind was just going a mile a minute, just thinking of like all these different things with like YouTube ideas, what I have to do today, and other stuff. But I just visualized the free throws, and then I was just knocked out, and here I am. I woke up nice and early with my alarm, but that's how you get better sleep. And if I helped you, leave a like, please. If you're new here, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.